If you're a Disney World veteran, you know which restaurants are your favorites. These are your tried and true spots that you aim to visit on every trip. But have you tried venturing out of your restaurant comfort zone? There are plenty of killer restaurants that you probably haven't tried before. And that's what we're talking about today on DFB Guide. Hey everybody, it's AJ for Disney Food Blog. If you're wondering which Disney World restaurants you might be missing out on, look no further. Today we're bringing you the unsung hero restaurants of Disney World that are actually really good but just don't get the true recognition they deserve. We're sharing alternatives to your favorite restaurants and favorite types of food today to add some new options to your Disney World restaurant roster. I know it's real easy to just keep going back to the same places over and over again, right? So are you ready to find your new favorite restaurant? Okay, let's get started. By the way, if you want to get the full list of the restaurants we're going to talk about today so you don't forget to add them to your Disney World plans, head to disneyfoodblog.com/newfave to get the list sent right to your inbox. We'll also sign you up for our free newsletter. We send out all the latest news and info along with some other fun stuff to our newsletter subscribers nearly every single day. All right, so when you're looking for a good, hearty meal in Disney World, you may tend to visit spots like Liberty Tree Tavern in Magic Kingdom. It's one of my favorites. But if you always go there, you may be missing out on a restaurant that could quickly become one of your new favorites. One under the radar spot you can find great comfort food, and it's usually not very crowded, is Trails End at Disney's Fort Wilderness Resort. During normal times, it offers buffet-style meals for breakfast and dinner in a cozy, rustic environment surrounded by the woods of the campgrounds at Fort Wilderness. It's located next to the super popular dinner show Hoop-Dee-Doo Revue. If you're eating here for dinner, you can expect hearty dishes like fried chicken and chili, and for breakfast, you're going to find classic staples like Mickey waffles, of course, and that Pog juice. I actually had chocolate chip Mickey waffles last time I was there. And that Pog juice, that mix of passion fruit, orange, and guava juice, and a Disney World breakfast essential. They also have some yogurt parfaits and some truly incredible, I mean seriously incredible, sticky buns. Real good. So Trails End is a good option if you've never tried it before. Another benefit of Trails End is that it is really, really inexpensive. This is a great budget restaurant. Now, is it hard to get there? Yeah, it's hard to get there. Your best bet is to take a boat from Magic Kingdom or Wilderness Lodge or Contemporary over there, because if you try to get in by parking at Fort Wilderness and taking the bus system, it's just a kind of a hassle. So I would say go park at Wilderness Lodge or Contemporary and then take the boat over to Fort Wilderness, and Trails End will be right there. Now, another great option is Whispering Canyon Cafe. This is next door to Fort Wilderness at Disney's Wilderness Lodge, and this restaurant is surrounded by the expansive lobby of the resort, including an 82-foot fireplace that if you look at it closely, you'll see that the rocks are actually inspired by the strata of the Grand Canyon. It's really, really pretty. Now, this is a super fun environment where you might have some rowdy cast member interactions. They've definitely toned down over the past few years, but you're still in store for an interesting time at Whispering Canyon. One of the most popular things on the menu is their massive all-you-can-eat skillets with pulled pork, ribs, brisket, mashed potatoes, corn, beans, plus there are loads of vegan options on the menu too. And some other great options are the burnt end nachos and bottomless milkshakes. Yeah, once you're finished with a meal here, you'll probably be ready for a nap back at your resort. Now, our next hearty meal is at Boatwright's Dining Hall, located at Disney's Port Orleans Resort Riverside. You're going to be surrounded by antique shipbuilding tools and other casual but immersive decor inspired by Southern Louisiana in the dining room. On the menu, you're going to find classic Louisiana staples like jambalaya and shrimp and grits. They have a killer prime rib here. And last time I dined there, they had a really, really yummy fried cheese that was cheddar cheese. And I think our server described it as what mozzarella cheese sticks wish they could be when they grew up. So I love that description. That's exactly how they tasted. The desserts here are usually really good too. If they have the butter cake on the menu, definitely order it. Now remember, Port Orleans Resort is not open right now. We don't have an opening date for it. So fingers crossed, Port Orleans Riverside and French Quarter will open at some point in the next, year. We'll see. And we'll keep you updated. But Boatwright's, although I know a lot of you don't like it, I actually find it kind of comforting. I kind of like that restaurant, and they do have a decent menu. So at least give yourself the opportunity to check out the menu. Now, these three restaurants I've mentioned all have laid-back, kid-friendly vibes with super accessible menus for everyone in your group, no matter how picky they are. All right, moving on to our next set of unheralded restaurants. If you're looking for an upscale meal in Disney World for a night away from the kids and the hustle and bustle of the theme parks, there are more options than you would probably think. There are a lot of what they call signature restaurants or fancy restaurants in Walt Disney World. The first one we're going to talk about is Citrico's. This one is often overshadowed by its neighbor, Victoria and Albert's at Disney's Grand Floridian Resort and Spa. This is another great choice if you kind of want to go all out for a meal and not be locked into spending over $200 per person like you are at Victoria and Albert's. Citrico's still has fancy dishes. They are a la carte and you can get them for under $100 note usually. It has a sophisticated dining room, which closed for refurbishment prior to the park's closures last year, but it still has not reopened. So for now, we're waiting to see what changes have been made to the restaurant, though you can still get the delicious truffle fries from Citrico's at the neighboring Enchanted Rose Lounge. The menu at Citrico's is inspired by the Mediterranean, so you can expect to find coastal ingredients and flavors in the mix. One of my favorite things I've ever had here, even though I'm not a super huge seafood fan, they have I don't even know what they call them. It's basically like a sauteed shrimp in this incredible garlic butter sauce, and it is amazing. And they also have a really good oak-fired filet, and the risotto here is always good. Usually they have a risotto of the day kind of situation. So this is just like a laid-back, chill date night restaurant. You don't have a view of the fireworks. You don't have a view of animals or anything. It's just chill and relaxed, a nice place to meet friends for dinner or a nice date night. Now let's also talk about Yachtsman Steakhouse. This one's tucked away at Disney's Yacht Club Resort. It's filled with subtle, sort of nautical decor, very neutral, and it does allow it to fly under the radar a little bit. The whole thing is very craftsman. Now overall, the atmosphere is pretty in line with what you'd expect from a steakhouse, except it's not like dark woods and rich upholstery. It's much lighter than that. So think sort of steakhouse meets nautical, and that's what you're gonna get. Now I know this may come as a shock, but I'm gonna tell you to try the steak here. The restaurant serves a great ribeye along with a porterhouse special for two that includes a 21-day dry-aged signature steak with bone marrow, 2 sides, brioche, and garlic butter. One of the famous things here at Yachtsman Steakhouse are those onion rolls, and they serve their complimentary bread with a head of roasted garlic. So you actually get to put roasted garlic right on your bread with that salted butter. Oh, it's so good. Now at Yachtsman, I have had some very, very slow service in the past, so keep an eye on that. If you are trying to get back for a babysitter or something like that, know that Yachtsman tends to take a while. Usually signature restaurants do. They're trying to make sure you have a little bit more drawn out, relaxed evening than you would normally get at a Disney restaurant that wants to turn those tables over quickly, like a character meal or something like that. But if you do need to move quickly, just let your server know that you're on a little bit of a time limit. Now, when you're looking for Mexican or Tex-Mex food at Disney World, you need to look further than the Mexico Pavilion in Epcot. Yep, there are plenty of great options there, but consider venturing out to some of these other spots. Now, back in the day, if you wanted Mexican food in Disney World, your only option was really the Mexico Pavilion in Epcot because the only other choice was Maya Grill over at Coronado Springs Resort, and that's just not a really great restaurant, which is strange because it's actually run by the same company that runs the restaurants in the Mexico Pavilion. By the way, heads up, behind the scenes, most of the Mexican restaurants in Walt Disney World are either run by or somehow in cahoots with the third-party company that runs the Mexico Pavilion. So the first one we're going to tell you about is Three Bridges Bar and Grill at Villa del Lago, another long Disney restaurant name. After opening in 2019, this is one of the more recent additions to Disney's Coronado Springs Resort. It offers a stunning water view with lounge-style seating. This kind of does have a feel. This actually replaced an outdoor bar at Coronado Springs, but it's much more sophisticated now than what it was. So there's a laid-back, relaxing atmosphere. You're right out there in the middle of the lake. Really, really nice vibe over there. And on the menu, you're going to find lots of shareable appetizers in Spanish-style small plates, not to be confused with Toledo, which is the newish restaurant located atop the Gran Destino Tower at Coronado, and that specializes in tapas. Now, we've loved the warm Manchego and Oaxaca cheese dip here and the grilled skirt steak. Plus, if you don't have time for a full sit-down meal, Three Bridges offers table service to go. That's a fairly new feature in the My Disney Experience app, and it allows you to order off the restaurant's menu, and then you can just take your meal to go. So this one, if you're looking for a chill vibe, outdoor dining, the choice of either a full meal or small plates, they've got great sangria. That's the kind of vibe you're gonna get here. Now, the next Mexican restaurant we're gonna chat about is Frontera Cocina. This is located at Town Center in Disney Springs. This restaurant is helmed by Chef Rick Bayless and is serving up modern, authentic Mexican cuisine. They have a great queso fundido here, some delicious carnitas. You'll also find unique cocktails and margaritas on the menu. By the way, those are courtesy of the team at La Cava del Tequila in Epcot, which is of course another one of our favorite spots, but they do sort of manage their beverage menu over there. So if you're looking for a place to get that avocado margarita and you don't want to wait in line for it at the Mexico Pavilion, you can get it over at Frontera Cocina. Okay, our next round of restaurants, if you're looking for a great burger, but you're afraid of getting a subpar hockey puck overdone burger because you're in a theme park, well, we're going to solve that problem for you. There are still plenty of options to get above average burgers in Disney World. The first one I'm going to talk about is the Boathouse. Over in Disney Springs, this restaurant is right on the water and it adds to the nautical feel of the place. Besides the cool views, you can also request to sit in the iconic boat booth. You guys know I talked about this in several previous videos. That's exactly what it sounds like. You're in a giant boat that's been remodeled to be a table. They have the Gibson Sandwich King award-winning burger with cherry peppers, jalapeno Havarti, and spiced mayo. It is delicious. It's always good. I've ordered it a bunch of times. And if you're ordering the burger here, that means you're not paying exorbitant amounts of money because there's a lot of stuff at the Boathouse that's real pricey. Now, also at the Landing in Disney Springs, you can go to Raglan Road. This cozy restaurant may be go-to for Irish staples like bangers and mash, real good, shepherd's pie, but it might not cross your mind when you're thinking about burgers. Now, we've tried their OMG burger, which is a combination of prime short rib and brisket beef topped with Dubliner Irish cheddar, which is phenomenal, by the way, crispy potato straws, and Jameson Irish whiskey barbecue sauce. So if you're in search of a good burger, that's an option I wouldn't pass up. All right, our next burger joint for you is also in Disney Springs. This Disney Springs is shaping up to be the place to get burgers. Deluxe Burger is a quick service spot in Town Center at Disney Springs. This is a great option if you want a quick meal rather than having to sit down in a restaurant or get a dining reservation, because this is a counter service location. Now, they have specialty burgers like the barbecue burger and pizza burger on the menu that have been seriously great in the past. And they've got a proprietary blend of beef here that is really phenomenal. They do a good job with it. Deluxe Burger is also the only place that I've been able to specify the doneness of my burger at a fast food place in Disney World. They will ask you if you of course, if you want it well done, medium rare, etc., which is awesome. Deluxe Burger is also famous for their milkshakes. They have boozy shakes there. They've got great hand-cut fries with awesome sauce options. So Deluxe is definitely a good choice if you're looking for a killer burger, a fun, cute atmosphere, maybe a milkshake, except you don't want to spend a whole day there. And in Disney's Animal Kingdom Asia, you're going to find Yak and Yeti. This is an elaborately themed sit-down restaurant filled with relics and antiquities of Southeast Asia. Now, among dishes like sweet and sour chicken and pot stickers, there's a Kobe beef burger. We've ordered it more than once. It's consistently been a really solid burger. So if you're not feeling the more Asian-centric cuisine here, grab that Kobe beef burger. It's real good. Okay, our next round of restaurants that may be your new favorites are seafood spots. Now, there are tons of options in Disney World for seafood. Whether you're looking for something casual like fish and chips or a fancy seafood meal, you got a lot of choices. But these two restaurants are must-dos for seafood aficionados. The first one we're going to talk about is Flying Fish. This is on Disney World's Boardwalk. Its dining room is elegant but not over the top fancy, and you'll also have a view of the restaurant's onstage kitchen. There are lots and lots of different seafood options on the menu, which you probably could have guessed from its name. Some cult favorites from Flying Fish include the potato-wrapped red snapper. This one's been around forever, even after Chef Tim Keating left, and they refurbed and remodeled the whole restaurant. They kept that on the menu because people love it so much, and it is really good. They actually have some pretty good steak too if you need to please a non-fish eater in your party. And this restaurant is a little on the pricey side. It is a signature restaurant, but you're getting some top-notch seafood, and there's usually excellent service here as well. Next, we're just headed across the water to Todd English's Blue Zoo. This is an upscale restaurant. It's off the beaten path at the Dolphin Resort, and the menu is known for being both innovative and, of course, seafood-based. You're going to find both raw and cooked seafood dishes served with hearty sides like Blue Zoo's Simply Fish that's accompanied by a creamy risotto. And this place has a very showy vibe. It's kind of Vegas-y in a way. The dining room is impressive, and they have an extremely showy mixology menu. I love the drinks here. They're so much fun. So definitely, if you're headed to Blue Zoo, plan on getting a cocktail. Okay, so one thing that can be really hit or miss in Disney World is Italian food. There is a lot of it, and it's not all good. You can find some killer wood-fired pizzas and authentic pasta at places like Via Napoli, but on the other end of the spectrum, you'll find those doughy pizzas from quick service joints like Pizza Rizzo. Now, with these Italian restaurants that I'm about to talk about, you're being steered in the right direction. First of all, Tutto Gusto. When you think of Italian food in Epcot, your mind probably goes straight to Via Napoli or Tutto Italia. Well, Tutto Gusto is another solid option. Its menu is the epitome of authentic Italian food. Pasta, cheese, meat, and over 200 bottles of wine. Tutto Gusto is technically Tutto Italia's kind of lounge area, but it's basically a separate thing all on its own. It's a wine cave, really, with a really robust appetizer menu. So you're going to find classic Parmigiana, spaghetti, lasagna, meatballs, plus the petto di pollo that we've had in the past, which is super cheesy and filling. I love the paninis here. And there are some epic sort of just cheese plates with just incredible, flavorful Italian cheeses. So Tutto Gusto is going to be a great spot for just a quick snack and a glass of wine. You can get wine flights here, and you can also have a full meal here. So while the restaurant is quite small, because it is a wine cave, and there are no reservations, it's definitely one that's worth your time if you've kind of been everywhere else in Disney World that serves Italian, and you want to try something new. Okay, another one nobody ever goes to or hears about, it seems, of course they go to it, is Il Mulino New York Trattoria. This is another place serving up authentic Italian food. It's at the Swan Resort, which of course is right next to the Dolphin, right outside of Epcot. It does feature an elegant dining room, but it's casual enough to bring kids along, and you don't have to worry about it being overly formal. Spaghetti carbonara is an Italian staple that you'll find on the menu, and Il Mulino definitely gets it right. I have had spaghetti carbonara everywhere that I've had Italian food. I feel like if it's on the menu, I order it. And they have such an incredible carbonara at Il Mulino. It's very impressive. But note that Il Mulino is a chain. They do have these restaurants in other cities, but it's not like an Olive Garden. It's a much more high-end option, and it is very, very delicious. Okay, if your family's big on character meals when you visit Disney World, chances are you typically visit the fan favorites like Cinderella's Royal Table and Chef Mickey's. There's no denying those are must-do spots, especially for your first Disney trip, but I think there are a couple of different places you should try too. First one we're going to talk about is Akershus Royal Banquet Hall. Tucked away in Epcot's Norway Pavilion, this is another princess dining experience in a castle that you probably haven't heard about. You can meet characters like Snow White, Cinderella, Belle, and Aurora. The menu's a little more unique than what you'll find at other character meals that you typically frequent. It's a Norwegian smorgasbord, as well as an a la carte option that includes pretty good smoked fish and lingonberry muffins, and some things you've probably never tried before. So as an alternative to Cinderella's Royal Table, this is going to be less expensive, easier to get into, you're still going to meet a bunch of princesses, and you're still in a castle. So it's definitely a great option. Plus, if you dine here before the park opens, you're going to be first in line for Frozen Ever After. Now, Akershus is not open at the moment. It's currently serving as a relaxation station in Epcot, but when it reopens, when we get back to normal times, this is one to consider so you don't have to drop an arm and a leg at Cinderella's Royal Table. Now, there's another widely unheard of character breakfast located at Disney's Beach Club Resort right outside of Epcot. You can expect it to be on the quieter side, which is a major plus when you're looking to score some extra time with those characters. And you can see Minnie and friends in their beachwear, which isn't an everyday thing. You often don't see them in their bathing suits. Now, one of my favorites there are the Mickey Waffles, of course, but when this restaurant is open, it is a buffet restaurant. So you're going to go up and get your meal and then go back to your table, and the characters will go to each table. Now, like I said, both of these character meals are currently still closed unless you're watching this in the future when things are back to normal in Disney World. So keep up to date on which restaurants are open and which are reopening soon over at DisneyFoodBlog.com. Okay, now if you always go to Sanaa for that iconic bread service, or you're looking for something a bit more unique, there are definitely places in Disney World where you'll find options besides steak, pasta, chicken, and burgers. Right next to World Showcase Lagoon in the Morocco Pavilion, Spice Road Table is definitely an option you should consider. Now, because you're right on the water, you're going to have great views of the park's nighttime fireworks show when it's taking place, and for now, you'll just have to look at those gigantic and kind of distracting barges on the lagoon in preparation for the park's upcoming show. harmonious. In terms of food, the restaurant recently introduced a new menu of small plates and lounge-style food. We recently tried the Tyrapitakia and spiced chicken. We found them to be really flavorful and thought the portions were great. Now, this is great view, a lovely restaurant. Service is excellent. At least it was before Disney took over in 2020. I don't know how it is now, if it's still going to maintain that kind of good service or not. We'll see. But again, good place to go if you want to just have a bite to eat and a glass of wine, or a great place to go for a full meal. This one is considered a restaurant, not a lounge, so you do need an advanced dining reservation to dine here most of the time. All right, let's talk about Jiko, the cooking place. Now, this is another spot that's often overshadowed by Sanaa, and Jiko is also located in Disney's Animal Kingdom Lodge. Now, this is their signature restaurant, so this is the more expensive location in Disney's Animal Kingdom Lodge. Throughout the dining room, you're going to find lots of unique themed decor inspired by authentic African folklore and tribal culture, and you can expect it to typically be on the quieter side here, which is good if you're looking for a relaxing meal. The chefs here do like to change the menu often. That's usually what happens at signature restaurants, but I recommend trying out their flatbreads or fillets, and of course, the famous dish at Jiko is their filet mignon with macaroni and cheese. Now, if they don't have the macaroni and cheese on the menu, they do have it in the kitchen. They always have it in the kitchen, so you can always ask for it. Something cool to check out at Jiko, by the way, is keep an eye on the back wall. That's their sunset wall. And throughout the evening, the colors change on the wall so that it looks like the sun is setting. All right, next one we're going to talk about in this kind of more unique food group of your next favorite Disney World restaurants is the Jungle Navigation Company Limited Skipper Canteen. Skipper Canteen typically makes it onto my list of hidden gems, and when you're looking for a sit-down meal in Magic Kingdom, people commonly flock to Be Our Guest or Liberty Tree Tavern. But Jungle Cruise fans especially have got to check this place out. The dining room is laced with all kinds of details that reference different parts of the ride. Skipper Canteen has a bit more of an adventurous menu as well, with that whole fried fish and several options that are influenced from all over the world. Now, this might be seen as a negative for some people, but they're serving up some pretty great eats there. You'll also find classic Jungle Cruise humor throughout the menu, like with the Taste Like Chicken Because It Is, which is really good, by the way. Now, something you might be surprised to find so commonly in Disney World is sushi. Luckily, there are a couple of places that really don't disappoint when it comes to sushi. First, we're going to talk about Kimonos. Kimonos is in the Swan Hotel, and even though it can be a pretty happening night spot, they do offer karaoke every night. I'm going to guess you've probably never heard of it. Not only is it a sushi bar, but it also doubles as a karaoke bar, like I said, and the sushi options are abundant. There are a bunch of Japanese appetizers on the menu, like miso soup, edamame, and seaweed salad, and naturally, most options do include fish, but vegetarians in the seafood-averse can find something on the menu. There's lots of options there. This is a really fun getaway. Heads up, the karaoke doesn't usually start till about 10 p.m., so if you're looking for a happening time, you're going to want to schedule the majority of your evening there later. All right, now over in Epcot's Japan Pavilion, Tokyo Dining is one of the best places for sushi in all of Disney World. Since the park's reopening, it's had some really inconsistent hours and limited days when it's been open, so you'll need to plan ahead if you hope to eat here. Inside, you'll find a really sleek dining room with added touches of Japanese design, and there are some huge windows that face World Showcase Lagoon. So if you're looking for authentic sushi in Disney World, this is definitely the place to be. By the way, a little heads up, California Grill, I know you guys have heard of it. It's probably your favorite Disney World restaurant. They do have an amazing sushi menu as well. So if you're interested in good sushi and you happen to be in the Magic Kingdom, you can always head up to the California Grill's lounge. You don't need a reservation to dine there, and ask for their sushi menu. Okay, so after a long day of walking around the park, sometimes you just want to have a relaxing, no-hassle drink and a small bite to eat. So if you don't want a huge sit-down meal, but you do want the relaxation that comes with one, you're going to want to visit some of Disney World's lounges. Now, we talked about a couple of them earlier on the list because they fit into different categories, but these are all going to be lounges, no reservations needed, and they are genuinely some of my favorite places to unwind in Disney World. First up, Cruise Cup Lounge. I know you haven't heard me talk about it for about a year, have ya? At Disney's Yacht Club Resort, Cruise Cup is right next to Yachtsman Steakhouse, which I mentioned earlier. Now, the atmosphere here is really comfortable with a TV to watch whatever sports game is happening at the time, if that's what you're into, and it's normally pretty quiet here until things get cooking later at night. One of my absolute favorites from here is the prime rib sliders. Seriously, you can't go wrong with these. You knew I was going to talk about them. Pair those with one of the specialty cocktails or draft beers from Cruise Cup, and you've got yourself a winner of a meal. Now, note that Cruise Cup doesn't start serving food until about 5 p.m., so this is only a dinner place, but they do open serving drinks at 2. All right, Tambu Lounge. This is upstairs in the great ceremonial house of Disney's Polynesian Village Resort. If you've ever dined at Ohana, it's actually right in front of it. This is the bar and lounge for Ohana, and it's enveloped in the relaxing and tropical vibe of the Polynesian Resort's lobby. So you're going to have the option to sip on that lapu lapu, which is rum, and more rum, served inside a whole pineapple. In terms of food, there are some small appetizers, and the menu usually changes up, but most of it is always good. Now, this is one place you can find some of the iconic dishes from Ohana without having to dine at Ohana. That includes the Ohana bread pudding that I love so much, those Ohana noodles. You can order Ohana wings. There's several other things that you can sort of piecemeal order from the Ohana menu at Tambu Lounge, which is great. Now, it used to be a great deal, but Disney caught on that everybody was going there to order that stuff, and the prices kind of doubled. So heads up, it's not going to be cheap, but it's going to be cheaper than going to Ohana. All right, let's talk Scat Cat's Club. Scat Cat's Club Lounge is a hidden gem over at Disney's Port Orleans Resort French Quarter. Now, inside there are jazz-inspired murals that you can admire while listening to live jazz musicians play on select nights of the week. Port Orleans is naturally the spot in Disney World for beignets as well, and this is the joint where you can score boozy beignets. That's right, they have those house-made beignets filled with various liqueurs. These are called Baton Rouge beignets. They were added to the menu and can be filled with your choice of Kahlua, Bailey's, RumChata, and there's a secret menu Godiva chocolate liqueur option as well. Now, if you're thirsty, there are lots of specialty cocktails here, including the signature Southern Hurricane. And then let's talk Enchanted Rose. This is an upscale option that can be found at Disney's Grand Floridian Resort. This is technically kind of the bar for Citricos. It's inspired by Beauty and the Beast and is extensively themed throughout 4 different areas of the lounge. You're going to find nods to the classic film all throughout, but think live action Beauty and the Beast versus animated. It's still very sophisticated. It's still very mature. Now, many of the appetizers served at the Enchanted Rose come from Citricos, which we talked about earlier, and we love the truffle fries and the house-made flatbread from here. Plus, among the long list of cocktails, there are 2 that can be served tableside, the Love and the Envy, and your server relates the backstory of Beauty and the Beast while they're being made. These are more expensive, but it is a fun experience. Okay, now I bet you've never heard of this one, Martha's Vineyard Lounge. This is near Cape May Cafe in Disney's Beach Club Resort. Martha's Vineyard is actually the bar and lounge for a restaurant called Ariel's that hasn't really functioned as a restaurant for years and years and years, but the lounge is still there. And it's a great option for a quiet escape following a long day in Epcot. It's themed after a New England-style beach house, so it's got pretty laid-back feel. Honestly, the atmosphere is pretty boring here, but again, if you're looking for a lounge that's not too crowded and it's a chill location to unwind, this is a great option. Now, wines, cocktails, and beers are abundant, and the appetizers include comfort foods like loaded tots and New England clam chowder. It's also another option to snag those over-the-top milkshakes from Beaches and Cream, the Beach Club's resident soda fountain that's famous for serving up burgers, grilled cheese, and the massive kitchen sink sundae. All right. Next lounge you've got to hear about is Geyser Point Bar and Grill at Disney's Wilderness Lodge. This is a combo of counter service and table service dining and lounge. It's kind of everything all in one. But of course, there's no reservation needed. You'll find both a walk-up window as well as lounge-style seating waterside at Bay Lake. So this is outdoor dining. The cocktails on the menu have Northwestern influences, using spirits and sourcing breweries from that region. And the cheesy barbecue brisket, as well as the bison cheeseburger, believe it or not, have both been winners in the past. We love them. I wish the cheesy barbecue brisket was a bigger portion. That's the only thing I want to change about that. This is a great place for a sunset drink, but it is popular, so be prepared to arrive a little bit before sunset. And also at Disney's Wilderness Lodge, Territory Lounge is another one of those locations you're going to have to closely keep an eye on its hours to plan a meal here. Typically, it opens later in the afternoon and remains open later past dinner time. It's really relaxing and feels a bit like you're in a mountain lodge, which makes sense since that's what the resort is going for as a whole. They tend to switch up the menu pretty frequently, but you can expect hearty appetizers like fondue, chicken wings, and topped fries, but they're all done super fancy. Now, there are plenty of specialty cocktails along with more Northwestern influenced drinks and wines here. It's always been one of my favorite spots, so I hope you get to check it out, especially if you're staying at Wilderness Lodge. Now, a lot of these places aren't open at the moment. We have a blog post on Disney Food Blog that's being updated regularly with everything that's open and closed. So you can just go search through that blog post and see if these restaurants are open when you head to Disney World. And don't forget, you don't need to go back through this video to take notes on the restaurants you don't want to miss. Just go to disneyfoodblog.com/newfave and enter your email address to get the list sent straight to your inbox. So next time you get ready to make that Via Napoli or Be Our Guest restaurant reservation, I strongly urge you to consider some of these other options too. They're less crowded, easier to get into, and often less expensive. So what do you think? Did we just find your new favorite restaurant in Disney World? We'd love to hear from you in the comments. Have you eaten at some of these places? Can you recommend them? Let us know. Everybody benefits from your experience, so thank you for sharing it with us. Thanks for listening, you guys. Thanks for watching. As always, this is AJ for Disney Food Blog, and we'll see you real soon.